The music was soft, the lights were golden, and laughter filled the air, but at table 17, one woman sat completely alone. She kept her eyes on her plate, pretending to scroll through her phone, hoping no one would notice she didn't belong. But deep down, she felt it, the quiet sting of being invisible in a room full of people who seemed to have everything she didn't. Before we begin, take a moment to support our channel. Like this video, subscribe for more heartfelt stories, and share your thoughts in the comments because your voice matters, and kindness starts with connection. Emma Carter hadn't planned to feel this small. She almost didn't come to the wedding at all. It had been years since she'd seen her college friend, Olivia, but when the invitation arrived, Emma thought maybe, just maybe, it would be a chance to feel normal again. A break from the endless routine of bills, school runs, and working 2 jobs just to stay afloat. But now, sitting in a room filled with elegant dresses, expensive suits, and polished smiles, Emma realized she had made a mistake. Everyone else seemed to come in pairs. Husbands pulling out chairs. Couples laughing over shared memories. Even strangers found comfort in conversation. Emma had no one. Her ex-husband had walked out 3 years ago, leaving her with their 5-year-old daughter, Lily, and a mountain of responsibilities. Since then, Emma had learned to survive on her own, but nights like this reminded her of everything she had lost. She adjusted her simple navy dress, one she'd bought on sale, hoping it didn't look as out of place as she felt. A group at the next table glanced her way, whispering softly. Emma looked down quickly, her cheeks warming. She knew that look. It was the same one she saw at school events and neighborhood gatherings. Pity mixed with curiosity. Who is she here with? The answer was always the same. No one. Emma took a sip of water and forced herself to breathe. It's just a few hours, she whispered under her breath. You can do this. But then came the moment she had been dreading. Ladies and gentlemen, the host announced cheerfully, please take a moment to join your partners on the dance floor. The room came alive instantly. Chairs scraped, laughter rose, and couples stood hand in hand, making their way toward the glowing center of the hall. Emma stayed seated. Her fingers tightened around her glass as she watched everyone else move forward together. The emptiness beside her felt louder than the music. She blinked quickly, refusing to let tears fall. And that's when she heard a quiet voice beside her. Hey, would you mind doing me a small favor? Emma turned, surprised. A tall man stood there, dressed in a sharp black suit. He looked confident, but his eyes were gentle, almost hesitant. I'm sorry, she said softly. He gave a small smile. Could you pretend to be my wife for the next 5 minutes? Emma stared at him, unsure if she had heard correctly. I know it sounds strange, he added quickly, lowering his voice. But trust me, it would help me more than you know. Emma hesitated. Everything in her life had taught her to be cautious. But something about his tone, sincere, almost vulnerable, made her pause. Why? She asked. He glanced toward a group across the room, then back at her. Let's just say I need to avoid a very awkward conversation. Emma almost laughed, despite herself. For the first time that evening, the tension in her chest eased just a little. Okay, she said quietly. 5 minutes. His smile widened, warm and genuine. Thank you. He offered his hand. I'm Daniel, by the way. Emma. As she placed her hand in his, something unexpected happened. She didn't feel invisible anymore. On the dance floor, Daniel gently guided her into the rhythm of the music. His movements were steady, respectful, never too close, never too distant. You're doing great, he said softly. Emma smiled faintly. I haven't danced in years. Then I'm honored to be your comeback partner. She laughed, and the sound surprised her. It had been so long since laughter came easily. For a few moments, Emma forgot about the whispers, the loneliness, the weight of her struggles. She was just there. Present. You looked like you needed a rescue back there, Daniel said after a pause. Emma raised an eyebrow. Funny. I thought I was rescuing you. He chuckled. Maybe we're rescuing each other. There was a silence, but it wasn't awkward. It was comfortable. Safe. So, Emma said carefully, are you going to tell me who you're avoiding? Daniel sighed, glancing toward the same group again. Business partners. They're trying to push me into something I don't want. Like what? A life that looks perfect on the outside, but doesn't feel right on the inside. Emma nodded slowly. I know that feeling, she said. Daniel studied her face, as if trying to understand the story behind her eyes. And you? He asked gently. What brought you here tonight? Emma hesitated, then decided to be honest. Hope, she said. I thought maybe I'd feel included again. Daniel didn't respond right away. Instead, he simply nodded, as if her words mattered more than any reply. You deserve to feel that, he said finally. The sincerity in his voice made her throat tighten. As the music slowed, something unexpected happened. Instead of stepping away, Daniel leaned in slightly and whispered, stay with me a little longer. Not just for me, for you. Emma looked around. People were still dancing, laughing, living in their little worlds. But something had changed. She didn't feel like an outsider anymore. She felt seen. Okay, she said. They spent the rest of the evening talking, laughing, and even sharing stories over dinner. For the first time in years, Emma felt like she belonged in a room like this. And Daniel never once made her feel like she was pretending. To everyone else, they looked like a couple. But to Emma, it felt like something deeper. Kindness. Pure and simple. As the night came to an end, Emma stepped outside for some fresh air. The cool breeze brushed against her face, calming her thoughts. Footsteps followed. I'm really glad you came tonight, Daniel said. Emma smiled softly. I almost didn't. I'm glad you changed your mind. There was a pause. Daniel, why me? She asked. You could have asked anyone. He looked at her, his expression thoughtful. Because you looked like someone who needed a reminder, he said. That you matter. Emma felt tears well up, but this time, she didn't hide them. Thank you, she whispered. Daniel reached into his pocket and handed her a card. If you ever need anything, or just someone to talk to, he said. Emma glanced at it and froze. Her eyes widened as she read the name. Daniel Hayes. CEO of one of the largest companies in the state. She looked up at him, stunned. You're a CEO? He shrugged lightly. Just a guy who didn't want to see someone sit alone tonight. Emma let out a small, emotional laugh. Well, she said, you changed more than just my night. Daniel smiled. Good. That was the goal. A few weeks later, Emma sat in her small apartment, helping Lily with her homework when her phone buzzed. A message. From Daniel. Hope you're doing well. Just checking in. Emma smiled. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about status. It was about a moment of kindness that reminded her she wasn't invisible. That she was worthy of connection, of joy, of being seen. Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness can change someone's entire world. A simple conversation. A gentle gesture. A moment of understanding. You never know who's sitting alone, quietly hoping someone will notice. So be that person. Offer a smile. Extend a hand. Speak a kind word. Because kindness doesn't just brighten someone's night. It can change their life. And maybe, just maybe, it will change yours too.